Today I'm excited to talk to you about The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. So this is the second book of Ward's that I have read. The first one was Little Eve, and I really loved that book. It had all the sort of windswept gothic cult folk horror vibes that I love, and I really liked Ward's writing, so I was excited to get to this. Now, despite the sort of haunted house kind of vibes that the book cover is giving, this is much more of a thriller horror, and in fact, leans pretty heavily, I think, into the thriller genre with what it's doing here. The titular Last House on Needless Street is home to three occupants. The mentally unwell Ted Bennerman, who, as we find throughout the story, has suffered quite a bit of different sorts of abuse from his parents, his daughter Lauren, and his cat Olivia. We also will meet Dee, who is the sister of a girl who disappeared one summer long ago. It's the girl that Ted refers to as Girl with Popsicle, and her name was Lulu. Dee is obsessed with finding her sister, who she is convinced is still alive, and suspects that Ted has something to do with it and moves in next door. This does something interesting in that I generally do not like thrillers for one reason, and modern thrillers, I will say, is because they get so outlandish. And I know that I think is actually the appeal of the thriller genre for a lot of people. It's just not normally my cup of tea. And that happens here. It really does. Making this work requires a lot on Ward's part, like a lot of explanations. But I really enjoyed it. I think the difference between this and some of the other thriller books that I haven't liked so much is although it gets pretty outlandish, I enjoyed the journey so much. In particular, we get chapters from Olivia the cat's point of view that I just adored. I love Olivia as a character. I loved those chapters from her point of view, just kind of understanding and seeing the world through her view really was very charming. Ted as well is interesting because throughout the book, even though we suspect he has done something terrible, there are a lot of things about his worldview and the way that he views the world that is very charming and sometimes even funny. So it's a really interesting mix, a sort of tension between elements of magical realism. I mean, that's how it feels when you first start reading the book and suddenly the cat is, narrating, and these elements of horror and thriller. So even though I kind of figured out what was going on here before the big reveal, I didn't mind it because I don't think the book really hinges its enjoyment on the reveal. Like it's kind of fun to see all those pieces fall into place. I feel like a lot of thrillers are so hell-bent on getting to the twist or whatever is going on, that it forgets just sort of the basics of good storytelling, like good dialogue and good characters and characters that you care about, and a book that you really enjoy reading. At least that's been my experience. So The Last House on Needless Street, a very rare thriller that just goes full thriller that I really, really loved.